back to it, Phoenix Wright. February 24th, 12:14 PM. District Court, courtroom number 9. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally, helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edward described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony at the day of the crime. In plain old English. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complain. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't gonna do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime? Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you want a raise this year?" Well, I'm gonna put forward the fucking handprint. Officer Marshall. Doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish about that. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me, there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Blood-stained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprints. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That, and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, it's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward for me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. Oh god, here we go again. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? I think I have to do the video again. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video was the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you could show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. I will! Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us the incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Oh boy. Here we go again! God, this video is fucking brutal. It might already have happened. Hang on. Yeah, because there's nothing... Okay, yeah, there's these three things are empty. Is one of them full now? Haha! Get fucked! Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witness's, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh! The white cloth! It's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that's a... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? He doesn't know. This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it! Okay. Merry Christmas, bitch. Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order! Witness! Explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Ole! Please answer the question! What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? So Officer Meekins didn't see... I don't know if I've killed it around. So Officer Meekins didn't know to stand there. That's almost as credible as Meekins' warp theory. Oh. That sucked. Anyway. He's the other guy. He's the victim. I guess he was the victim then. If only it said M and G, that would make more sense. No, he wasn't. Yeah, there we go. But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his cards, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Oof. Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument. That's why I chose the killer as Goodman, because Goodman stood near the hole, and Meekins is stood next to the lockers. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, He opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. Oh god, here we go again. This fucking video keeps coming back. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why. Alright, well, it's not the glove. It could be the blood, but I'm pretty certain he vanishes. Is it the blood? I guess I could try the blood. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. I got it. It's the blood. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on it. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. The incident's not over yet. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I... Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprints activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to be stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? Oh, I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is raised every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? The DNA evidence was missing. Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. and I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident, you know why? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Oh, good shout. I actually should probably read this out. I didn't read the document. Incident number SL9. Perpetrator, Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bays. Neil Marshall. Trial data. Head prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses, Lana Skye, Emma Skye. Investigation Task Force, Damon Gant, Lana Skye. Head investigator, Bruce Goodman. Investigators, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is? I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to the case. I better take another look at the files. Yep. Did it just in time. Here you go. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial! which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. A sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye, and the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. You know it's coming. Ah! I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Your Honor, wait!
Emma!
The defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Here we go again. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yeah, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. For all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? The badger? It's the fucking badger, isn't it? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plan to the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So? So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well? Well? What? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? So that means, just what exactly does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves it. Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edwards said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. If my internet could stop fucking up, that'd be amazing. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? Is it the autopsy report? Because it's at 4. It's gotta be. Yeah, because he can't have died at 5, he died at 4. It's the autopsy report. Either that, or it's this, because, Oh no, it can't be that. I'm just gonna put the autopsy report first and see how that goes. Or... oh, there's no time on that. Autopsy time! If it's so simple, then don't get it wrong. Really? It says 4 o'clock. I'd literally suggest there's a different time for the fucking incident. Crazy. Okay, well, it's not that then. Well, the only other piece of evidence I've got is this, so let's try this. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh! The ID card record! Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at... let's see here. 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Ah! Miles Edward! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining, 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777777. Mr. Edwards, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous, just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked her up her ID number, and it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SO9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't!
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence.
See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dart killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Lana wanted Dart convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall's murder, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
So that means you...
Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dart trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Dark.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dart tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then,
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
A permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly, Lana forged evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumours about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
So it's true, even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that the crime occurred?
Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma, you've been through so much.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices in the question room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. February 24, Detention Center, Visitors Room.
Lana! Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble.
Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type.
Criminals don't mind playing foul, so why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you.
Oh?
About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office.
That's right.
Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs?
I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright.
Wait. Smile for the camera. This guard monitors the visitor's room. He seems frozen in place, cowering under this room's oppressive atmosphere. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago.
Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me.
I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before.
It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. He was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant?
He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened?
I always planned on becoming prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office.
Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Drake.
Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right?
Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations.
They even had the same office?
We led the team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place.
When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me.
Now you tell us!
Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana?
It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Drake.
Or Dark, even.
When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood.
3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma who had passed out,
and the suspect Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seemed Mr. Marshall had struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious.
What did you do?
To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room and just held her.
Can't blame her, after all, her sister must have gone through.
After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest.
Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident.
That's right, quite a coincidence,
I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance.
But that case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved.
Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories.
That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right?
Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the Chief's office.
Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Maybe we should. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere.
Things seem kind of quiet around here today.
You're right. Chief of Detectives seems the same, though.
Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to?
Right. We can come back here later. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. That's it, the villain used a time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. He's not writing a report, he's writing a novel. That man must be the chief of detectives. He's staring at the screen so hard it might shatter. What? Dark case may have been fabricated. That's what I thought all along. I just never bothered to tell anyone. Now there's a guy who cares about his work. This is new. These are the detectives' desks. There are computers and files on each one. Funny, they're a lot tidier than I expected. I guess the detectives don't spend a lot of time at their desks. I feel like this laptop's new. Maybe it's just me. February 24, Police Department entrance. Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck at when I went old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy?
Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner.
But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it?
Why do prospectors head west? If ever there were a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's after all. That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade and the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars that the SL9 incident left behind.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he? Your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother.
The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there were thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They?
Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gann and Lana Sky. The investigation lead Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth is my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. February 24, Prosecutor's Office, underground parking lot. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr.
Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are.
But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 PM.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lana.
I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office. Room 1202.
Mr. Edgeworth isn't here.
Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today.
Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago.
I guess we'll just have to come back later. How do I get to Gant's office? The detectives in there look pretty busy.
Just imagine, right now, behind the doors...
Yeah, we've already heard that one. I know that there's that handprint on the blue badger. The blue badger comes back again later. I just don't know when. How the fuck do I get into... Maybe I go back in here now. Right, there we go. There we go. I just had to speak to Marshall. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did, and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those.
Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office.
Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office.
There we go, we're in. Look at that. It's a fucking organ. Oh, Ganondorf, is that you? February 24, Police Department Chief's Office. Amazing. This is a 10 out of 10 office. Whoa, where am I?
In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door.
Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was.
Hmm? Oh, it's you two! Chief Gun! He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swinging lately? No, I haven't. I've been kinda busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me! So, this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Can't see picture. Photo of the awards ceremony of Gaunt, Lana, and Neil. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend.
Looks like we aren't welcome.
It seems that case isn't over with yet after all.
What do you mean?
Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there.
You mean like a clue?
There's gotta be a way we can get inside the Chief's office. Just go everywhere, I guess, until I find someone. Phoenix just running around the city desperately. Help me! February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious.
Is it because of what my sister said?
That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood.
Yikes.
But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this...
Are there really so many people who hate him?
In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You're gonna take me back to that joint today sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Doc left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall who was trying to protect some girl?
Me?
It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all.
Well, what was it?
Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never failed to impress.
Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory.
Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car.
With his car? So it was an accident?
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal.
An animal?
He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came up to the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in? Yeah, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Doc was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. About this. Hey, is that? It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And was found in Mr. Edwards' car muffler.
That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again.
This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside his sample. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive.
Now we've got Neil's autopsy report. The switchblade has been upgraded. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered.
The Chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died.
Oh.
So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office.
I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind.
Okay, not that. I guess I'll just go for everything. Oh, I'll come back later. I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. The thing people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal.
You're looking into the case of Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know. After all, a serial killer was on the loose. Bolana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. It's not that. About that jar. I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in Chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gunn? Where could I have seen that before? Now I present this. Oh, no I don't. He knows where the jar is. What else do I need to show him? That's the ID card recorder, isn't it? Yes. There's only one number left to investigate, at 4:20 PM. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with somebody else. Someone with an executive officer number. 777-777-777. That's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. I might have to just go through everything. Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edward got the other day. Were you at the award ceremony this come through? Of course, pal! I got awarded in diligence myself. Ah, congratulations.
I was wondering, why is this award a shield, and why is it broken?
Ah, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently it's forgotten. How do I get this party started? Or maybe I don't have the item necessary to do it. Oh, a lost item report, huh?
Very impressive, Detective. You knew what it was right off the bat.
Well, I am a master of misplacement, you know.
Master? That has such a cool ring to it.
The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. There's a higher power at work here.
Wow, a higher power.
Maybe I shouldn't let Emma hold any evidence. Okay, that didn't get me anywhere. I'm just gonna leave. Okay, that's getting nowhere. You are so unhelpful. Ah, there we go. Edgeworth. February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet.
There he is. It looks like he's writing something.
What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth?
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's why my superiors are banking on. I never thought that the case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture? Something seems strange about it. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this.
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office early in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he?
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes?
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right. I remember now.
Remember what?
That was when the official prosecutor trophy looked like... That was what the official prosecutor trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design.
A story?
Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, yeah, sure, everyone knows that. Yeah, why don't you tell it, for fairness sake. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize?
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion. Even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago we had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant... Okay. February 24th, Prosecutor's Office, underground parking lot.
Excuse me?
She's back.
Would either of you care for a £1/4 of roast beef?
Miss Starr! I guess she's all lunches.
You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago.
Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. That can't all be attributed to mere coincidence.
Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness?
The instant Alana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife.
No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savoured when eaten.
Miss Starr's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago.
Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell.
You mean because of his brother's death?
They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate.
Her?
Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out.
You mean with the forging of the evidence?
Don't get me wrong, Joe Dart got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof that anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter.
She was being used?
Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gantz led the investigation with Lana as second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gantz's magnetism in particular was almost unreal.
His magnetism?
By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled.
Incredible evidence, you mean?
Oh yes. There were rumours about him even back then. No one dared confront him though.
I take it she's talking about forged evidence.
Back then everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes. Myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. It wasn't for her. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr? That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that?
Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she?
Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office.
What? You mean, that's why Lana was transferred?
If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude. There must have been a reason for her to change.
At last! I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr.
You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been.
February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Oh, you're back! You still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ.
You're a DJ as well?
If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey.
Oh, that DJ.
I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you into the chief's office, period. I had to be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there.
There's got to be something we can do to make the detective change his mind.
Fuck. Do I even have anything? I don't even knew. Oh, I've got the upgraded evidence. There we go.
Say, this design's based on an old Chinese parable, right?
Yeah, everyone knows that. There was this, dragon. Yeah, that's it. A dragon. He had a thing for shields, see? That's not exactly the version we heard.
No, but this one sounds more exciting.
Anyway, it gets kind of gory after that. I'll spare you the details. Okay, damn it. What about the knife? About this. Hey, is that... Yeah, we got that, yep. Okay, no, that didn't change anything. This guy almost made us lose the case today. What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence like with his life. That's more than you can say about most officers nowadays.
It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well.
I have to admit he's right though. Thanks to the blue badge we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 PM. Found in Mr. Edwards' car. Stabbed with Mr. Edwards' knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Wait, I didn't mean... Maybe sure, of course someone else really did it. Someone who must have grudge against Mr. Edgeworth. I don't know what to show you. I can't... Okay.
You know Officer Marshall?
Of course I do. He was like a man to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus.
Really?
He said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus.
I don't believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Okay. We've done that. I've done that. Okay. I've already had 4 conversations with her, so there's nothing further there. How do I advance this?
The only thing I can give you now is a poppy seed rice set.
Talk about cheap.
Eat this and maybe you'll be able to tell black from white in court tomorrow.
Okay, so she's saying nothing else. Mike. No, I've already done that. I've remembered I did this.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Edward told you know in a very stylish manner.
Whose side do you want anyway? Maybe I just show him my best evidence and get some kind of reaction out of him. Come now, Wright. You can't seriously expect me to just sit down and chat with you about the case over a cup of tea. But this isn't related to the case, remember? You said so yourself. So I did.
Chief Grant gave this to you that day, didn't he? He asked you to bring it here from the police department.
The chief is a very competent man, but sometimes he does things that don't make any sense. At least it's better than being incompetent at doing things that don't make sense. A certain detective comes to mind. Fuck, how do I advance the story? This dude wants one item and I don't know what it is. Detective, here's my attorney's badge. You show this to me every time we meet, pal. Real men show the police badge, enough said.
I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice.
Okay, not that. Not that. I'm just gonna show it. I'm actually literally gonna show everything. That's the photo that Miss Star took. Anything you can tell us about it? That Miss Star is quite the lady. Why, I remember it was winter. I was 16. She was the only one who ever got me to talk about what happened.
16? That's how old I am now. But what happened?
I wonder if Detective Gumshoe wore a trench coat in high school too. Hey, I just bought some of that stuff. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too.
Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that bottle before. Add 3 inches to your base height.
Base height? Hey, let me see that. Looming tall, new and improved growth formula. You mean this can't detect any blood traces?
Well, it's not quite the same thing as luminol.
So that's why the lady at the counter had that smirk on her face. Hey, that powder's used for detecting fingerprints.
Yeah, Mr. Edward gave it to us.
He did what? All I have is some flour. Are you okay, detective? Quick, run! Achoo! If it's any help, one time I took a nap on a beach, on a bench with wet paint. Why am I not comforted? No locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker.
Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, detective?
The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand without any fingerprints. Shh, if they come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you? If that happens, I think you'll do better pleading with Edgeworth. I've shown everything. What am I missing? Maybe I get her to talk about something. Well, I don't think I can. Oh, how do I advance this? Who wants... Somebody in this fucking game wants, like, one tiny item. What are your thoughts on this knife? Yeah, I don't think she'll talk to us either. Edgeworth, do you want a knife? It seems everything in this case is designed to cast doubt on me. Hey, don't look at me. Yes, I went into the evidence room on the day of the crime. Chief Gant asked me to do something.
To take evidence from a case solved 6 months ago back to the prosecutor's office.
I have a locker in there as well. Did you notice anything amiss when you were in the evidence room? That room's always dark and I was in a hurry. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. God! How do I get into the chief's office?
The blue badger is still arriving around today.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's dancing. Speaking of dancing.
Can I take out his batteries? I just can't help but feel he's going to do something naughty.
I don't know what he wants. And I've just used everything. Somebody wants a specific item. And my issue is, I don't know who wants the item. Well, I know that Gumshoe wants an item, I just don't know which item. I meant to use the spray.
Hey, look! They're hard to make out, but there are some dark red stains here.
Looks like blood.
Do you think Detective Goodman's blood somehow got on this when he was stabbed?
Not likely. This blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. This jar was evidence in the SL9 incident. That might be when the blood got on it. That is correct. Perhaps I can finally show this now. Oh, what's this?
Huh? This thing doesn't have a bottom.
That's weird.
I wonder which side is up.
Better yet, what's the purpose of a bottomless jar?
At least it doesn't collect dust inside, right?
I'm going to examine all of these. I guess this is another piece of evidence from that case.
You know, I never did care for the word tag. It's confusing.
Huh? What's so confusing about that?
Do you know how many other words sound like that? Bag, gag, nag, lag, zag.
Zag? Is that a word?
Do you challenge me?
What are we playing? What, are we now playing a word game? The tag says AI 16.
What's that got to do with anything?
Nothing, apparently. At least that's what Edward said.
That makes it seem all the more suspicious. Who knows? This might turn out to be the clue that breaks the case.
Wouldn't that be nice? I am clutching at straws.
Hey, check it out. That's a metal plate.
It looks like the names of all the previous recipients are engraved in it.
Wow, one guy's name listed a bunch of times. Fun Karma.
Well, we know the truth about this now. But it didn't matter. I know where you've seen it before, it's a fucking picture! How do I get him to, like, acknowledge this shit? Oh, how do I advance this fucking story? Ah, this case is brutal because the amount that you just have so much evidence, and you practically don't need half of it at this point. Like, I think the security video is useless now. You know, I wonder if you put this up somewhere, like on a shelf, that has no meaning for me anymore. What do you mean anymore? That's who I was last year. What good is it to dwell on the past? He's asking me?
Ah, why can't I just accept it graciously? Actually, something's been troubling me about the shield. Look! Do you notice anything different?
Different?
Yeah, don't you remember the other shield in the court record?
I guess I better present this other shield. We've done that! We know the truth about this shit. At this point, it's just a case of getting Gumshoe to acknowledge that it's different. But he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to acknowledge it. Ah, there's something really fucking simple I'm not seeing here.
Oh, Francesca, you're more lovely than a marsupialing. Quiet, Jean-Marc. Words will just spoil the moment. Now hold me close.
Yes, this approach allows for much more intrigue. Seems like they're giving up on the mystery genre. That doesn't help me! Somebody's got to give me more fucking information. Oh, I'm gonna look up a guide in a second and I don't want to. I just want to know. I just don't know how to advance from here. I have everything. I've read everything. I've looked at every single item. Gumshoe, what do you want? Can I use... No, I can only use it here. getting desperate. Oh, I was hoping to be able to use the spray on the blood. It's some of iron. It's a some of a part of this that I'm not seeing. It's crazy that like the description's not graded or anything. Where have I seen that thing before? Right here in Gant's office! Look at this fucking photograph, you crazy man. Right there! I'm just gonna have to show everybody everything at this point. I've run out of ideas. I have literally I have nothing else and nowhere else to go. Somebody at some point will say, hey, why don't you go to Gan's office? It'd be real nice. I'll get you to break Lana. Well, this ain't going well. Okay, well that was worthful. Alright, she's completely done. There is nothing to show her. Do I show you items? That'd be kind of weird, but I've got to go for it with every character. Here we go. I'm gonna investigate the blood while I'm here again. Yeah, it's just pretty. This is also a dead end. It's the exact same thing as fucking Lana. Literally, it's just something I've got to show. It's literally something I've got to show Gumshoe, and I just don't know what he wants. Because I've been through everything with Gumshoe as well. Alright, that's it. that's all of her stuff. I've been through everything. Let us use the spray. Spray and pray, baby. I'm looking at this shit again. It appears so. Lana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime.
Poor sis.
Blood doesn't help! Maybe there's some other blood that I've not seen. Again, I'm pretty desperate to find something to hand to Gumshoe and say, hey Gumshoe, look at this. Hey, what's this? This blood must be from when Lana...
No! My sister isn't the murderer!
Well, she did call you, didn't she? At the time of the crime? And her right hand is bandaged.
Hey, just whose side are you on?
This has nothing to do with taking sides. So this means that Lana's hand had blood on it. This just keeps getting worse. Okay, I'm guessing that was probably a comment from, like, the start of the game. Alright, well, that didn't help. Alright, Edgeworth, time to go through everything with you, because I'm running out of fucking ideas. I once dreamed of being a defense attorney a long time ago.
What? You wanted to be a defense attorney, Mr. Redworth?
Yet a clear path is laid out before me. I have no time to look back on what might have been. I've already been through that. I'm gonna start showing Emma evidence in a bit. I'll try Gumshoe again. I've already done... I know for a fact I've done that. I'm not showing him that again. I've done that too. I've done that. The Lost Item Report. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, well that's you done. You don't have anything new. Alright, let's try Gumshoe again. Hey Gumshoe, maybe there was something I overlooked. Who fucking knows at this point? God, he's got so much to say and none of it's let me let you into the office. Done that. Great. 10 out of 10. Yeah, we know who it is. What do I have? Right, I'm gonna have to just show Emma everything now. In the desperate hope of unlocking fucking something. Because I don't have anywhere else to go or check. The traces of blood ain't sold. There wasn't any blood found at the prosecutor's office's underground parking lot. We did find blood on the floor somewhere, didn't we? Where was that again? In the evidence room and in the police department. Now stop using me as your memo pad. Like, yeah, we know all this. This is driving me insane. I don't know what item I need. Well, that's it. I'm officially out of ideas. I have nothing. Don't. Don't be this. Do not be this. Oh, fuck. I'm stumped. I am officially stumped. I don't get it. I don't get what I'm meant to do. I've tried everything. I've tried literally everything. I have nothing to show for it. I'm just looking it up at this point. There's clearly some, like, one thing that I'm not seeing. But I've had enough of trying. Motherfucker. Really? That's annoying. Work desk is quite tidy, as one might expect.
What a nice desk, easy to use and easy on the eyes. It's polished so high I can see my own reflection.
Strange, why did you just picture Detective Gumshoe?
Maybe I'll take that name plaque as a souvenir.
Don't. He'll sue you. There is a sheet of paper. That! I wonder what it was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look.
Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there.
Just distract him, I'll check it out.
Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's fallen to the ground! Hold on. First let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look!
What? Letter of
If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says Letter of Resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died.
But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault.
That's the one item I was missing. I know the path I've walked, you don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done, and no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Gee whiz, I wonder where it goes. I'm so annoyed. Hey man, let me into Gant's office, you fuck. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious? Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far.
Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible.
When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice, too. He thought he was willing to sacrifice, but I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him.
Detective.
That's it. I made up my mind.
But...
Here, take my ID card. We can't do that if someone found out.
They wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report.
Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective, thank you. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into the pocket. Finally! February 24, Police Department, Chief's Office.
Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're in! If anyone finds us now...
Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you two to bail me out. Eek! Gah!
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah! Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Crushed. Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd take a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's?
Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago.
Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see.
So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant, and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly any clues remaining. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be. No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay. And then let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to stop bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go like that. Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him?
Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Alright, here we go. Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. This is the 15th floor. You're not... what's he called? Omar from The Wire. I know. I'm just saying. Saying what? Ever since making Detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams.
So long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired.
Don't say that!
These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf.
Hey! This is when Lana and I went to that theme park.
This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy.
Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner.
There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. It was the stuff legends are made of. Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime?
This was taken on that day 2 years ago.
The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here, then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? What about the fucking massive organ in the middle of the room? The Chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When a detective screws up, the chief calls them into his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours.
What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally.
But aren't the chief's ears affected?
He never listens to anyone anyway. That's beside the point.
Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk.
Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant! He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence. In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though.
Hey, look at the case name.
Huh? SL9 incident? I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No, about the evidence lists. Normally, they're twice as long. That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-size list of evidence... The list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here?
I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case.
It would appear so. We found this in the drawer, a list of evidence from the SL9 incident.
Mr. Edgeworth had the other half of the list.
What would this list be doing here? We better take a look at a little more into this list. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe? That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so.
It looks like a code needs to be entered into this panel to open it.
A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birthday? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Bingo.
What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was that, pal? 7777777, the final ID card number on the record.
What?
The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777777777? That ID number? I think you're 17 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number.
Say, anyone care to look inside?
Not just yet. We've not finished looking around. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The Chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes.
You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh, be careful of what you say. Who knows? The Chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there.
Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's a
shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before?
There's something else in here too.
What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth.
This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the Chief made up the design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Is that it? This is all that was in the safe?
Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with the case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident?
Come on, there's got to be something we can show the detective.
It's time, baby. It's time to go to the court record and look at this. Okay, maybe not. Not yet, anyway. Maybe I just present it to him. Hang on. Detective Gumshoe, could you take another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic.
Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case?
That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one that was in the safe?
Yes, that one. That was in the safe.
Now that you mention it, it was ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Right, let's do this one. Here, let me see that shot. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue.
If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. There! It fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
There's a reddish line on it.
A reddish line? That's blood! I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? The other piece I need is a claw.
That's a great idea, Detective.
Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead. Take my fingerprints.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor?
Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check out the prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away.
What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Wait, what? Maybe that was being done. I like how that just kind of ended. That was being done. Who could have guessed? This is what I was expecting to happen. That's a mess. I gave it my best shot.
That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it?
But it doesn't look like we'll get a clear result from this print.
Okay, let's try a different finger then.
So not that one. I gave him my best shot. Okay, not the phone. My wife only has a pointer and thumb pinky. There we go. Well, it ain't gone. Oh boy. No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here?
Hey, you found the match! Whose fingerprints were they?
Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints.
Psst. Hey, you. Over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here. Maybe you should hold on to this. Well, was I any help? Of course! Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Eek! Chief Gant! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out the window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh, you in the coat? Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now get out! Yes, sir. We'll be on our way out too, then. Wait! You! The one without the spiky hair! Don't go yet!
Me, sir?
I'd like a word with you!
But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet.
You with the spiky hair, you're free to go!
Mr. Wright!
I abandoned her to die. Look, pal, if I told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gunt was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why is she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Hey, you listening to me? I'm gonna try and smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. February 24th, Detention Center, Visitors Room.
I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning.
It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here.
But I've already told you all I can.
What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing.
Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman.
You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words.
Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right.
Edgeworth?
Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe.
Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth, it's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual.
What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person?
Protecting? No, I think it's afraid. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence.
For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name?
What's this guy? Well, this guy?
Mr. Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place.
I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans.
My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective.
Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes?
His crimes?
Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence.
Of course, these are serious offences.
Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned?
Chief Gant?
Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was...
me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation.
Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant.
If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case.
I just found this in a safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him?
Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty of murder.
Why not?
Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate.
In the murder of Detective Goodman.
Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day.
I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edwards' car. Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman.
Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body.
The murder weapon? You mean Edward's knife?
No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it.
The knife from the SL9 incident, serial killer Joe Dark's knife.
I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife.
That would be Edgeworth's knife.
That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand.
And that is the reason for the bandage on your right hand.
Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in.
Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly?
It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible.
So you hid Dark's knife.
The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that.
So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe.
Right, then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler.
You asked Emma?
I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this.
That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence.
Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day.
A bad feeling?
The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall.
To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him?
The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust, or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own.
Oh, you mean...
Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands.
He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence.
He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared.
So your phone call caused the incidents in the evidence room?
I'm afraid that's all I can tell you.
But Lana...
You've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow.
Tomorrow's trial, there's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the Chief's office 2 years ago. I'm probably going to end it there, because I know that dealing with Damon Gant takes a very, very long time. I remember it taking ages. It is not quick. This final part is not quick. So yeah, I think I'll end it there. Which means that tomorrow is the final day for Ace Attorney. Which is good! We like that. So if you've been watching, thanks for watching. More Ace Attorney tomorrow. We'll finish it off, and then I get to play Turok at long last. So yeah, have a good evening, and I'll see you later. See ya.